Even watching Blue Jay games right now, what's left to watch? Well, Teoscar Hernandez is forcing Blue Jay fans to open up their eyes and think about the future and think maybe they have one of their outfielders for next year. How much of September can you believe when this guy's mashing night after night?
Well, he's been impressive, and certainly, again, last night, 2 for 5, 4 RBIs. He's been impressive. And I think that the Jays' calculus entering this stretch, or at least entering when they called him up, was that maybe he's a fourth outfitter, maybe he's a platoon player, but certainly if he replaces Jose Bautista in right field at some point in time, you could say that was how Jose began his tenure in Toronto as well. No one thought he was going to be what he has become. So I think it's important, too, to think about the way that Teoscar comes over in the trade from Houston, where it's such a crowded depth chart right now for the Astros, especially in the outfield. They've got a star-studded outfield right now to begin with, and they've got Derek Fisher in the minor leagues and Tucker in the minor leagues. So they've already got such a pipeline where he just was not getting any hype. He was not really getting any recognition, and perhaps the Astros maybe didn't even really realize what they fully had in him. So he's got an opportunity. I think he knows that it's there in front of him, and at the very least, I think he's shown the Jays that he can be at a minimum a platoon outfielder next year in the major leagues, which I think allows them to perhaps be a little bit more strategic in what other outfield bats they go after this wintertime.
Totally. It changes how they'd address free agency. And Teoscar Hernandez is I agree with you on sort of the Jose link, although he's 3 years younger than Jose. And if we're going to, I think there's some darts that Shapiro and Atkins deserve. They didn't seem ready at backup catcher. Depth wasn't good in the outfield. Bullpen had some issues, but you got to give credit when you give up 13, 14 innings of Francisco Liriano, middling at that for Houston, and you may get a starting player in your lineup next year. That's a pretty good return for a rental in this day and age.
No question, and you would even argue, Greg, you think about it, and that they may have gotten more, at least in terms of immediate impact for Liriano than the Tigers did for J.D. Martinez. So when you think about, of course, that's more of a future piece that the Tigers got for J.D. So that to me really, I think is an excellent job by the Jays front office there. And again, I think you look at the way their team is going to look. They're still going to have to, I think, make a decision eventually on Pilar. They have to decide, certainly in left field as well. Pierce, Carrera, what do they do there? I still think it's very likely that they'll find a way to add one more outfielder. And they've chased Jay Bruce for a number of years now. Maybe he's still someone they can go after in free agency. But even then, if you find a way to get Bruce or another big corner bat, I don't think J.D. Martinez is going to come to Toronto, but even if it's somebody of that ilk, then I think Teoscar has at the very least staked a very strong claim to being part of the mix at the other corner spot if, in fact, they decide to keep Pilar in center.